So I go with my friend and I feel like after my spirit and my girlfriend's back, it's been having us there.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the December informal hearing of the Tennessee Coastal Commission. The process of today's hearing will go as follows. The agency will present first. The commission may then ask questions of the agency. Following the agency's presentation, the individual respondent will have the opportunity to present. The commission may then ask questions of the respondent. After the individual has presented, the agency will have the opportunity to provide rebuttal. After the agency has that opportunity, the respondent may provide some rebuttal. The commission will then discuss and vote on the matter. Please note that this is an informal hearing. There'll be no introduction of evidence, witness testimony, or cross-examination. The commission members reserve the right to ask questions, and if there will be any review of any items presented during today's hearing. I'll now read the chairman's statement, conflict of interest. All post-commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve our own departments or some we know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, it may have an appearance of impropriety. Those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes. We'll now establish the primary voting members for today. Our primary members of the informal subcommittee are Commissioners Wright, Wilbur, and Beverly. Our alternate is Commissioner Green. But all commissioners can participate in discussion and asking questions. We'll now begin with a roll call. Alan Greenman. Alan Greenman. The matter of Miles White, I believe that's been continued. Teresa Perez.
Present.
Thank you, ma'am. Todd Doris.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Edwin Dorsey.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Lewis Hamlet.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Zachary Newton.
Good morning. Lyndon Willis on behalf of Zachary Newton. He's present.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
The matter of Charles Ferguson, I'll advise the commission when we get to that on the agenda. James Hendry. James Hendry. And Tommy House. Tommy House. All right, we'll go ahead and start with the first matter that we have somebody here present for. We'll start with Teresa Perez and the Metro Nashville Police Department. We have a member of the Metro Nashville Police Department.
My lawyer is not here.
Okay, we're still waiting on your attorney?
Yeah.
That'd be fine. Does the commission object to moving to the next matter? All right, we'll move to the matter of Todd Doris of the Millersville Police Department. We have a member of the Millersville Police Department here.
Kevin Green, Tennessee Post Commission. Chief Hale called me this morning at 8:30 and notified me that he is sick and not be present for this hearing and requested a reset.
Commissioner Beverly, have we reset this at all?
Would that be the first setting, first reset?
For the department, yes. There was one on the Mr. Doris' side, and then there was one mix up, I think, on our side, but the first time for the department.
Commissioner Ryan, make a motion, maybe.
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
We have a motion and a second to continue. All in favor? Any opposed? Counselor, we'll get with you and what about the reset date? Okay. We do apologize. Hey, sir. Move to the next matter. Edwin Dorsey of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. We have a representative of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office here today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. If you would just want to approach the lectern and state your name for the record, please.
Bennett Lawrence, I'm the Chief Inspector with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, sir. Can you tell us a little bit why we're here today?
Yes, sir. In May of 2025, we disciplined, at that time, Officer Dorsey on compliance with regulations and some protocols that were with MVR usage. In June of that same year, we had a personal conduct matter come up that was investigated by our Bureau of Professional Standards and Integrity. And they had him charged with personal conduct and courtesy. They submitted the case to the chiefs, to the upper command. The decision was made by the sheriff and his upper command staff to terminate him. He was a probationary employee at the time. And we went through the process in terms. That's.
Commissioner Wilbur, could you just expand a little bit on this personal conduct? Do you know exactly what it was in detail?
Yes, ma'am. You want me to read you the whole thing?
How long is it?
Not real long.
Okay, I'm good. Yes, please.
Not real long. I kind of paraphrase. We had a gentleman at a public facility or at a private facility in Memphis that filed a complaint on him. He was in the location without a ticket. There was a confrontation, verbal only. He did leave. And when they investigated it, there was video evidence of it. And the sheriff made the determination himself that conduct was not going to be tolerated. And he terminated him.
He was somewhere where it required a
He was
ticket
at the Orpheum Theater.
without a ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
He
you.
got into an argument with the guy about the ticket. He was in full uniform. He was not at work. And we don't do that. He also said that he was somewhere where he wasn't. We had video evidence of that. So it's not something we take. He just didn't meet the standards that we had set forth, and the sheriff himself is the one that contrary to popular belief, we can make recommendations, but the sheriff of our agency is the man that if we're going to terminate someone, the sheriff makes that decision. And we enforce that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wright, so during the investigation, is that where he wasn't truthful about where he was? You said he lied about where he was at.
We didn't charge him with truthfulness because the determination was made that we were going to terminate him for conduct and go forward with that.
Okay, was there something else that you said about motor vehicle usage? Was there something?
That was the first incident he had. We disciplined him and gave him a 1-day suspension on MVR usage or body cams and also the operation of vehicle. And normally in a case such as that, it would be up to the discretion of the supervisors and things like that on their recommendations. But with him being a probationary employee, they felt that they could do a suspension, a 1-day suspension as discipline, and maybe we could get some corrective action out of this. Because even on the first case where he was written up, being a probationary employee, he could have been terminated at that time. And it was serious enough that they could have, and they just chose to try to give him another chance.
Do you know if he came to you from another agency, or is it somebody y'all sent to y'all's academy, or?
I know what I've been told. I heard that he had gone to another academy and did not complete that academy. And the sheriff had to come get a waiver to get him in our academy. And it's very seldom that we'll do that.
So he would have been a probationary employee at the time, but it would have been off an FTO program, it wasn't with an FTO or anything during.
He was not with an FTO. He had finished riding with someone. He was still on his probationary
I got you.
status. He still had a few months to go. It's after he had completed the having a partner with you all the time.
Yeah.
When we turn them, put them out on their own and go from there. That's when this did occur.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is Commissioner Green. So basically what I understand is he was off duty, put his uniform on, tried to badge his way into an event.
No, he was going to work later that day. He was going to work a detail later. He got dressed and went to this earlier.
But tried to badge his way in.
He didn't badge his way in. I can't say that he badged his way in. He wound up inside the building. I don't know how he got in the building.
And they asked him to leave because he didn't have a ticket.
They asked him if he had a ticket and he got into a confrontation with them about it at that time.
Okay.
Any further questions of the agency? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you would come to the lectern, just identify yourself for the record, please.
Edward Dorsey, good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak on my behalf today. During this three-hour journey from Memphis here today, I wrote a letter on my behalf stating that I want to reach you guys. Is this okay? I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. That city made me who I am today. My family's there, my work is there, and my heart will always be there. I'm also a proud father to three blessings, my daughter Alana and Avery, and my son Gianni. And now newly engaged to the love of my life, I'm stepping into a chapter of growth. My family and all of them is the reason I push to grow, to improve, and to be a better man every single day. I grew up around people who showed up for each other, teachers, officers, neighbors, and especially my own family. Both of my parents were first responders. They've been married for 42 years. That kind of commitment, loyalty, and stability is what I was raised on. Serving others wasn't something I picked up later in life. It's the example I saw every day. Helping people, protecting people, standing for something bigger than yourself, that's the foundation I come from. When Sheriff Floyd Bonner gave me the opportunity to attend the academy through a waiver, I didn't take it lightly as a recruit. I stayed committed, focused, and determined to prove their trust placed in me mattered. My class went through 4 sergeant arms, and towards the end of training, my instructors and classmates trusted me enough to elect me to their role. They meant a lot and showed they saw my character, not just my effort. After graduating, I entered the OIT program with the same commitment. I scored over 90% on every test, and every FTO I worked with saw my growth, professionalism, and willingness to learn. The incidents that brought me here today happened when I had only been on the streets by myself for about 8 days. I made mistakes, not because I didn't care, not because I disrespected policy, and not because I tend to do wrong. I was new. I was still learning real world judgment. I fell short, and I take full responsibility for that. I had a lot of time to sit with it, learn from it, and grow from it. But even after my separation, I never stopped serving my community. I built a restaurant that employs youth. I mentor young people who don't always have someone to believe in them. I stay active in my community. I volunteer, and I try to be a positive influence wherever I can. Wearing a badge is one way to serve, but I've learned it's not only way. My heart for the community has never left. I want the commissioners to know I was never accused of a crime. I was never accused of dishonesty. I was never accused of abusing authority. My termination was administrative. It was misconduct and does not define who I am. I work to become. I'm here today because I still believe in this path. I still want to serve Memphis and Shelby County. I still believe I can be an asset to law enforcement, to the people I've grown, I've matured, and I've taken the time to fully understand where I went and how to do better moving forward. As a father and soon-to-be husband, I want my family to see the moment not as a setback, but as proof that when life hits hard, you don't quit. I'm humbly asking for the opportunity to continue my journey in law enforcement. I'm asking to keep my certification so I can keep working towards being the kind of deputy the community deserves. I also want to share that I have received letters of support from Memphis City Council and county commissioners. their belief in me means a lot. And I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak this. I also have letters of support from the city council, Chair-elect John Swearinger and Shelby County Commissioner Kel Larry on my behalf. I want to present it to you guys if that's okay. I made enough copies.
It's up to the commission.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Commissioner Rogers, so while we wait, and look at those, can you tell us your account of events that happened there at the Orpheum?
At the Orpheum, I had a ticket. I had a electronic ticket. My fiance bought the tickets for us. When I arrived to the Orpheum, I arrived seeing a family member that I haven't seen in 10 years. And so I had an overtime assignment downtown Memphis. And so I stopped by the Orpheum. And once I got there, the security was talking to me because they saw me have a uniform and was talking to me. He said, "Hey, you here for the show?" I said, "Yes, I'm here for the show." He said, "Where are you sitting?" I told him where I was sitting. They never asked for a ticket. Watched the whole show. And then during intermission, a gentleman walked up to me that told me that he was a prior sheriff deputy. He was no longer with the Shelby County Sheriff Office, and told me, asked me if I had a ticket. I said, "Yes, I had an electronic ticket." And he was like, "Where's your ticket?" I said, "My fiance got my ticket." He said, "Well, you need to get it." And so when I saw him get in the hospital with me, I went to my fiance to get the ticket. And at that point, things started escalating, and then I had left the building. From then to now, I've learned as a probationary deputy, I've never been in that type of situation before anyway, but I learned as growing that, I was okay to be there, but I shouldn't had words with him, telling him, "Hey, look, I got a ticket," going back and forth with him in uniform. Because having a uniform on is a huge perspective of how you got to carry yourself out in the community. I also got a copy of the ticket right here, if you, as commissioner, want to see it. And also, I was never asked, during my discipline, I was never asked, did I have a ticket or present a ticket?
This Commissioner right again. So your fiance scanned your ticket, barcode ticket, as y'all came through at the same time? Is that?
So we had one ticket still available because I got to the venue late. And so once I got there, she still had the ticket. She scanned her ticket, but she still had an extra ticket left, which was mine, on the phone.
And if I'm correct, those are the tickets probably got the barcode, like she can't just forward it to you. It has to be.
No, sir. No, sir. Barcode.
Yeah, but could she just send it to you and it be on your phone?
Yeah, she can send it to me through Ticketmaster. And I had that on my phone as well, but I got distracted and the security was talking to me and he escorted me to my seat, sat down. It wasn't an issue till the former deputy came up to me and told me I gotta have a ticket, just real hostile to me.
All right, what was your prior law enforcement experience prior to going to Shelby County? Did you go attend academy somewhere?
Yes, sir. I attended the City of Memphis Police Academy and I was disqualified for academics.
Commissioner, Wright, one more question. The ex-Shelby County officer that approached you at that event, did he work for the Orpheum or is it just him on his own questioning?
From what he said, he was the general manager or something. If I can call him the general manager.
Okay.
But it was just getting so hostile, I had to get up out of here. But he said he was a general manager.
So he announced himself as an employee of the Orpheum.
Yes, sir. But during the conversation, he was saying that he used to be a sheriff deputy. Okay.
Commissioner Liggins, one question I have is when he approached you about your ticket, this argument started. When you got to the point of him being hostile, did he have to get security to make you leave, or did you leave under your own?
No, sir, I left on my own. once I told my family goodbye, I left them all. My entire family was there to witness the situation as well.
So your family stayed at the theater?
Yeah, they stayed.
You left.
It was an intermission. It was another half, but I had to get to work.
Commissioner Wright again, I think you may have just answered that in that last little bit of, couple words you said there. For you was in uniform because after this event was gonna be over, you was immediately gonna have to go to the assignment. You didn't have time to go back home and change and all that. Would that be correct?
Correct. So the Orpheum was next door, about 5 minutes away from where I had to report to. And I lived 30 minutes away from the old town. And so I had my uniform on. I also called my supervisor as well and asked him, was that okay with being a new deputy? He said, yeah, that's fine.
That was gonna be my next question. Thank you.
I was the type of deputy that always asked questions before I did anything, because still learning as a new deputy.
Commissioner Wilbur, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So why didn't you just show them the ticket?
Well, so my fiance had the ticket on her phone. When the situation got hostile, I left.
Were you hostile back?
When he told me that I know your boss, the sheriff, I know your boss, and I said, I know him too, that's my boss. At that point, that's when I had left. So I wasn't using the badge as authority. I didn't use any vulgar language, anything like that. Voices got raised. Since then, I've tried to retain the video camera footage, and I was unsuccessful doing that because I actually wanted to see it. But the way it was explained, it was not how it happened. So they wrote a report about the incident, the guy did, but I never could say anything on my behalf.
I'm just kind of flummoxed because decertification is a huge thing. And I feel like we're getting half the story. I'm trying to piece it together. Maybe my fellow commissioners can help me out.
So since then, I've been interacting with Mr. Kevin. I've been trying to get my records from Shelby County. That's why this is continued to now, because I want to present to you all the facts. And I've been unsuccessful doing that. And I wanted to actually show you, the side and see the video camera footage and that same situation, because how it was explained, it didn't happen. My entire family was there as well. And I wouldn't dare, especially wearing that badge, I wouldn't dare, especially I would never disrespect the sheriff when he gave me a way to attend the academy and become a sheriff deputy. But the way it was explained, it kind of, that wasn't me.
Commissioner Wilbur, I have one final question. So I know you weren't charged with dishonesty, but did some untruths come from your mouth in this investigation of this?
No, ma'am, I wrote a memo stating what happened. And the gentleman wrote a memo as well. Actually, he said he made a phone call to someone. I don't know who he made the phone call to, but he made a phone call to someone. So I've been trying to get my personnel file to see actually what what the gentleman wrote to the sheriff's office.
This Commissioner Beverly, how many of your family attended the show?
It was 13, I think. Approximately 13. And
Your fiance had the tickets for who?
me and her.
Just you and her?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would she arrived before you or after?
Yes, sir. So she left home probably like 30, 45 minutes before the show started. I got there late.
Okay.
And
Any any metal detectors, any security like that, like you'd see a Bridgestone going into that theater?
no, sir. Security was at the front door.
Okay.
And the security actually walked me to my seat.
Okay.
And I told them where I was sitting.
Where do they scan the tickets at?
When I walked in, I actually did not see a scanning area. I just saw security sitting at a table, and he got up and started talking to me about, he tried to get into the academy and all, et cetera. And he asked me where I was sitting at, and he walked to my seat. I actually didn't see a ticket scan.
Okay, so is this the type of event you buy tickets, they just weren't scanning, you come in, find your seat?
As I assumed, I didn't see a ticket scan.
You didn't see anyone else scanning tickets?
No, sir. And I got there late.
Yes, Commissioner Green.
So this altercation between the employee, with the theater, was that in a public place?
The
It
space,
was intermission.
yes, it was intermission. It was in the auditorium, like the hallway area, where you can have beverage and food.
So the public was around during this altercation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they saw you in uniform having a conversation that got heated, with an employee of the theater?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you consider that to be an embarrassment for the sheriff's office?
No, sir.
You wouldn't?
No, sir. Like, if I would have stayed and had a huge altercation with this guy, it would have been a huge embarrassment. But if I left,
How long did it last?
the conversation lasted about two to 3 minutes.
For a long time. People start looking at you while you were doing this conversation?
But he raised his voice, he was yelling at me. So,
Well, again, you don't think that would be an embarrassment to the agency?
well, it would have been embarrassing if I was yelling back at him.
Were you not embarrassed by it?
I was embarrassed the way he treated me in uniform.
So it embarrassed you personally. Wouldn't you think it embarrassed the agency?
Well, I think if my integrity was involved, it would have. I don't feel I embarrassed the agency being at the door.
I'm not talking about being there. I'm talking about having this altercation with an employee who was questioning your presence there,
I had every right to be there.
but you left.
I left because the situation got out of hand.
Commissioner Beverly, I've got questions for the agency. What you got for it?
Thank you, Ms. Dorsey. If you just have a seat, we can have the Shelby County Sheriff's Department come back up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. What can you elaborate on the video evidence? He said he wasn't there.
I was fixing to, she brought the question up on the truthfulness portion of this. In his memo that he wrote, he stated, he put in here, he said Deputy Dorsey left the scene shortly after and arrived at his assigned post at approximately 15:56 hours, which would be 4 minutes till 4 o'clock. At 116 Union, which is just down the street from the Orpheum, at 3 minutes after 4, we've got his truck headed to where he was supposed to be at work. He filled out his overtime slip that day and said that his overtime started at 1600. There's no way he was there at 1600 when he's in his truck at 1603. We chose not to charge him with truthfulness. Truthfulness is, that's something we all know. That's the most serious matter you can ever charge a police officer with, is truthfulness. We took the route of probationary employee. Some people aren't meant to do this job, sir. And I've been doing this job for 38 years. I've run across several, and they're good people. They're absolutely good people. This is not for everybody. 1 minute, 3 minutes makes a difference when someone is asking you, when we're asking you a question, the 1 and 3 minutes matter. It goes to, if you're going to tell me a story about 3 minutes, what else are you going to tell me a story about? If things get bad, what else are you going to not tell us the truth about? And the video evidence that he was talking about on the previous call where he was saying, we reviewed the video evidence. That's how, and we weren't looking for that. There was an incident where an accident happened. A person was intoxicated, and the officers on the scene took so long that the time limit got so far, there was no point in trying to give this person a DUI test because they'd been messing with this situation for 4 or 5 hours. When we were looking at that to take corrective action on training and other items, we saw the video. When you hit the button, you see the video, and we see a car going extremely fast to a scene that there's no need to go that fast to that scene. We started addressing those things. It's every time we turned the rock over, we would find something else. But to answer the question, that was where the truthfulness factor came in, and we chose that we're going to terminate on the conduct and courtesy. and go from there.
Commissioner Wright. My question is, would this level of disciplinary action happen if he had been a non-probationary employee, in your opinion?
The only difference, sir, would have been he would have been entitled to a civil service hearing.
So
Yes.
the department still
Yes.
would have pursued termination?
Yes. And the reason I say that is, and I know y'all probably know Sheriff Bonner. Sheriff Bonner preaches one thing to us, the brand. We're not bigger than the brand, and anytime we tarnish the brand, which is the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, it's been here a long time, there are consequences. And I personally know that if we had a gentleman that we hired a few years back, and he did something, he sent a text that was totally inappropriate. Because he worked in our jail before we hired him as a deputy, he was in class at the time. Because he worked in our jail, according to our union contract, we had to send him back to the jail for fallback rights. We cut him out as a deputy. And he sent an inappropriate text about when the Tennessee Highway Patrolman in Jackson had cut across and a truck hit him. He made a comment that morning to a group text of other recruits. He made a comment. He said, I guess there's an opening at THP. That's totally inappropriate. And Sheriff, I was in the meeting when he told him. He said, son, he said, if I didn't have to honor the contract rights for fallback for you to go to jail, he said, you'd be out that door today. Because of you're not representing our department. We take that, I take it seriously. I'm not in our training academy. I'm over our Uniform Patrol Division. They asked me to come up here and do this. Absolutely. And I take it as serious as we can get.
Commissioner Wright again, do you know if did y'all review the video from the Orpheum during y'all's investigations?
If there is a video, Matthew Mercer in our BOPSI division would have reviewed that video. And I'm almost positive if there is a video, he would have reviewed it. I cannot tell you 100% if he did because I didn't have anything to do with that investigation.
I understand.
Commissioner Beverly.
No, go ahead.
Commissioner Beverly, do you have any statements from the gentleman at the Orpheum that spoke, Deputy Bunk?
The statement that would be here would have been from when Mercer took the complaint. 1 second, sorry.
Thanks.
The gentleman sent an email in, Brett Williams, who is the Director of Venue Operations for the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. The below was a statement from Mr. Jesse Griffin, who was the security manager working the event. Jesse was working the event. He was helping scanning tickets. When he saw a deputy sheriff in uniform walk in, he walked in, informed the house manager that had not scanned the deputy's ticket. Robert stated the deputy told him he had a ticket, was going to his seat. During the intermission, they asked him for the ticket to be scanned. The deputy stated he didn't have the ticket despite already watching half the show. Robert stated to me the deputy did not have a ticket and was going to leave. That's when they got into a discussion. Yeah.
I guess, is there anything, did anyone in your department speak directly to the subject that you spoke with Deputy Dorsey?
Sorry.
Did anyone at your department speak directly to the subject that had the interaction with Deputy Dorsey?
That I don't know, sir. I would have to call Matt Mercer and ask him.
This Commissioner Wright again, and Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the only one that didn't give us nothing in here for us to look at. And I know this came from Human Resources, and they may not be wanting to give that stuff, but a lot of times when we're looking at these investigative reports before this and even during this, we can come up with questions and everything from it. So it would help us in the future, if you could, Human Resources, to give us a little bit more, maybe what you're looking at, so that we can be looking at it as well.
Do you want me to leave?
No, that's fine. I
You
think,
have everything I've got.
I think I'm ready to make a motion at this point. Y'all with it? I think that there's some lacking evidence that we like to be able to make a good decision. So I'm gonna make a motion, we move this to a formal hearing.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Dorsey, if you'll step outside with the investigator Creed, he'll perform his next steps.
If they'll give me the next day, I'll make sure that they have everything that y'all are, y'all have more than what you're asking for.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we need to reach out to you or to Inspector Allen for, the formal hearing?
Ma'am,
Would we need to reach out directly to you or to Ms. Allen for the?
Chief Allen.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Yes, ma'am. If she needs me, she'll call me and make me come.
Well, while we have you, the next matter on the agenda is yours as well,
I got
okay?
an investigator for that one, sir.
Well,
I'm gonna pass this one off.
yes, sir. In the matter of Lewis Hamlin, if you'll just identify yourself for the record, sir.
Good morning, I'm Detective Taylor with Shelby County Sheriff's Office Bureau of Professional Standards and Integrity Office.
Sir, if you would just have a seat, we'll call you forward. Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
All right, as I can proceed, on April 22nd, 2025, the Bureau of Professional Standards and Integrity Office received a complaint from Civil Court Clerk Carolyn Lauderdale. The complaint alleged that Deputy Hamlet forced her to engage in sexual acts several times inside the Civil Courtroom Division 4, located at 140 Adams, Memphis, Tennessee. Additionally, Colonel Lauderdale claimed that Deputy Hamlet swindled her out of her 2000 GMC Yukon Denali. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that Ms. Lauderdale was not completely truthful. However, Deputy Hamlet admitted to having consensual sexual acts inside the courtroom with Ms. Lauderdale. Based on the evidence collected and Deputy Hamlet's statement, he was found to have violated Shelby County Sheriff's policies SOR 104, personal conduct, SOR 112, prohibited activity on duty. Deputy Hamlet was charged with personal conduct because he admitted to consensually receiving oral sex from Civil Court Clerk Carolyn Lauderdale on 3 occasions while on duty. This incident occurred in the Civil Court Division 4. The actions was contrary to the letter and spirit of SCSO policy and procedures, which reflected adversely upon the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Hamlet was charged with SOR 112, prohibited activity on duty, because according to his Sergeant Moon, the deputies of each deputy's duties after the court adjourned for the day is responsible for monitoring the hallways and being available to relieve other deputies for breaks. 2, Deputy Hamlet admitted engaging in those consensual acts inside the courtroom.
Commissioner Wilbur, is the district attorney's office looking at any charges against the officer?
It was investigated criminally. It was found that Ms. Lauderdale was not truthful through their investigation. So no, the charges was dropped against him.
And if I understand you correctly, his duties were to protect those people, the judges and people in the courtroom, is that, were those?
That is usually when the courtroom is in session, but the, his court, room was completed for the day. But, the building was still open and other courts were still in session, and his tour duty was not over yet.
And he was supposed to be patrolling the hallways?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the agency? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hamlet. If you would just identify yourself for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Louis Hamlet, former officer with Shelby County Sheriff's Office. As you heard the detective give you the information on the false allegations of sexual misconduct, it did not happen. And as he said, I told the truth behind it. I also told the truth behind the situation vehicle. There was no swindle. We had a deal. I paid for the vehicle. That's what happened. This matter where they decided to make the issue or decided to make termination against me is based on retaliation. I have 4 or 5 EEOC complaints, right to sue letters. One is in court at this time, in federal court. And at this time, we were negotiating the first complaint. 2 weeks later, they made the decision behind this to terminate me. This ain't the first time something of this nature, what I did. I take full responsibility about what happened. This ain't the first time this has happened. They didn't terminate those officers. So I'm the 27 years or almost 20 years of being with the sheriff's office, I've always been in compliance with posts every year, making sure that the right things are done and qualifying. So I'm here today because my civil service hearing was pushed back. They haven't come up with a date yet. My attorneys and the county attorneys are going to be negotiating this outcome. So I'm asking the commission today just to hold off until the civil service hearing is complete. And so we can get through this. So that's one.
Commissioner Beverly, I just got two questions. Did you engage in oral sex inside of court?
I didn't engage in oral sex. She engaged in oral sex. I received, yes.
Okay. Were there citizens in the building at the time?
So I can't say my court was down. And you will get dismissed around the time that my court was down or whatever. So I had completed my tour of duty. We were just waiting to get dismissed. And that's, like he said, my tour of duty was over. But what he said, that the officers are patrolling the hallways, that's not always happening. That may be what they say, but that's not always happening. I was always able to respond to a call or need to be responding to a call. There was a late team.
I disagree. I don't think if you're taking that action, you're able to respond to a call.
Commissioner Ryan, I've just got one or two little things here. You was in uniform during those actions, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were still on the clock with Shelby County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Ryan, I make a motion for decertification.
Commissioner Beverly, second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Hamlet, you'll just step outside, explain to you next steps. All right, thanks. All right. Looks like we can go back to the matter of Sharissa Perez. Is your attorney here?
Yes.
Do we have a member of the Metro Nashville Police Department here? Is there anybody here from Metro Nashville Police Department?
Few out in the hall that might be.
Anybody here from Metro Nashville? Metro Nashville? No, sir.
You know, this matter was before the commission in August. And the agency did not appear then. And it was continued to have the agency appear. Just for the commission's knowledge before they discuss and decide how to move this matter forward, we did reach out to the Metro Nashville Police Department several times. The responses we received were basically that the Metro Nashville Police Department has no new additional information to provide or assist in the post-commission decision, and that they would not be attending. We did reach out and send a letter and communicate that they needed to appear to cooperate in the matter that they brought before the post-commission. And as you can see, that they're not here today. So I'll leave it up to the commission to decide how they want to the case, and perhaps maybe.
Just Commissioner Green, just for clarification, in other times, other instances, Metro Nashville has appeared for their decertification.
Yes, sir. This is something that's recently started. It's just been the last couple of times. I know we had an incident with the formal hearing that similar response was given, that they did not want to appear. We had to elicit a signed affidavit from the department for their records. So this is something that's been happening here the last, last 6 to 8 months with the agency. So it's beginning to be an issue.
It's not isolated to this case.
Correct.
Correct.
I might suggest that maybe the Chief Faulkner, as a commission chair, might reach out to Chief Drake and see what his thoughts are on whether they want to pursue these type of instances or not. That would be my suggestion.
Certainly something, if we want to discuss that further tomorrow, we can certainly do that. So how would the commission just like to proceed with today's case in front of them? I mean, it's certainly not the fault of Ms. Perez and her attorney.
Definitely not.
It was my fault that I was late, Dr.
Oh, no, yeah,
Guys,
certainly.
but it's not here.
That's just traveling in that.
I've got just a few questions. Ms. Perez, do you want to continue a career in law enforcement? Is that what you're wanting to do?
I would like the opportunity to, if I decided to, yes.
Were you able to learn from the experience with Nashville of some right and wrongs of what maybe you need to do and not do?
For sure. I mean, I think everything was learning opportunities. And
I've got a question. Commissioner Beverly, are you under the jurisdiction of any court due to this matter? Probation, diversion, were you criminally charged in this?
I am, I still have some court dates ahead of me.
Commissioner Beverly, that was our concern is last time we asked for, an agreed order of suspension while the proceedings were going on. They declined, which is what brought us back here today.
Can I just update so we do have court. I'm representing her in the criminal matter as well. She's basically charged with time and accounting fraud. That's the gist of the charge, right? I've been in discussions with the assistant district attorney in that matter. I've told her about significant exculpatory evidence that I've got. And I've asked, basically the charge is she was 5-10 minutes, whatever, across the county line when she was a supervisory role, supervising SROs. That is the guts of the matter. So the decertification is based on criminal conduct, right? I mean, that's to simplify, that's what it is. The problem is that I have proof from her personal phone. Of course, she was decertified, all that stuff, decommissioned. They took her phone and cut off her access to emails, and they've apparently wiped her
duty phone. Which is normally, when you're in that role, you're supervising other officers, you can show proof you're working from your duty phone. Well, they wiped it. I've asked for production of evidence from at least her work email. Yeah, that's gonna be rare, right? It's not generally gonna be emailing with your subordinate officers, but they're looking into that, but we've lost all the exculpatory evidence that they're required to preserve. So all I've got is she's got text. I'm not gonna do all this before this commission, but a whole bunch of texts from her phone showing the normal coordination with officers saying, hey, how's it going at that football game, or whatever, right? Virtually every day that she's charged with not being on duty. That she was certainly not in the county. That's not the issue. The issue is what's before the commission is she's charged with a criminal case for claiming work when she wasn't working. The problem is under the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act, you have to be paid if you're on duty, available for duty. You can be certainly disciplined for not being at the appropriate place of duty, but you can't be refused to be paid simply for not being at your assigned, in the assigned county. And that's what this is. I've got plenty of proof that she was working, communicating with her officers. There's a particular date, it's right after the Antioch High School shooting, where she was authorized by the complaining supervising officer to work. She's got emails, she's got all kinds of stuff that she was literally responding to that shooting. And they included that in these charges. Yeah, I understand this is an informal hearing, but the second time we've been here, they haven't presented any proof. We are ready for a hearing. But apparently their position is they're not going to cooperate like my officer, my client, ex-officer, sorry, is required to cooperate. We don't think that that's an appropriate stance by any law enforcement agency, especially one that is right here in the county. It just isn't. And she's having to suffer the consequences of their refusal to cooperate with a state mandated agency. Because while this is going on, she's out of work. She can't legitimately really hope for another job even. And these delays are prejudicing her. And so we think that this matter should be dismissed. She's presumed to be innocent of the charges against her. And that should mean something to a bunch of law enforcement officers. That's my spiel. We agree, and one of the reasons we are here today is not just the criminal conduct, but the resignation during an investigation that could lead to termination. And I see your point there, but our concern is we still have to address this, and that we have someone that is applied or could potentially apply to neighboring agencies that is under indictment for a crime of moral turpitude. That's what we're here to deal with today. Right. And like I said, I did not represent her in the underlying resignations. I came in after that. I'm not here to criticize other lawyers or whatever. I believe there was, if we had gone to a disciplinary board hearing and then to the administrative law judge, we believe we would have won. That's all I can say.
Commissioner Wilbur, are you still unwilling to sign an agreed order of suspension while litigation is pending?
We are. We should not be required to agree to a suspension without some proof from the agency.
She's been indicted.
True. That indictment is, she's still presumed to be innocent, showing her innocence. They have refused to participate. I have no adequate opportunity to present that That's where we're at. Right? Her signing an agreed order of suspension is detrimental to her. I understand it could be efficient, but it's not fair.
All right, Commissioner Wright, let's talk this out. If we did no action, she has this litigation still pending. I guess in the meantime, she could go out and apply, but if she's untruthful when she did apply, and she's gonna have to disclose this to any hiring agency. If we did do no action and she was found criminally, then even if she was hired by another department, they still have to come back before us if I'm correct. So we're really not giving her a full freedom of this. Because she's gonna have to answer to that and then circle back to us unless that goes favorably in her direction. Then if it does, then it's all over with. So I'll make a motion for no action. Let's see where.
You have a motion for no action?
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
I do, and this is more of a question for you. I know we have done this in the past, making sure we're not running into an issue with any of our rules. That an officer under, I guess, indictment is able to continue working, correct?
So her post certification right now, because she's not employed, is inactive. So what, do we know, what was your last date of employment with Nashville?
July 1st.
Okay, so 6 months is close to passing, and that point she'd have to go through full pre-employment. They'd have to run a new background check. So there's no scenario where she's going to get back into law enforcement without posting that paperwork. So I don't think we'll have a rules issue there. And if there were to be any issue, it would be on the waiver side if a background check came back with indication, and we would see that, obviously.
And I can assure the commission that when she applies for employment, whatever that is, she's going to be fully accurate in her disclosures. It's silly to hide the fact that you're been indicted, even if it's been dismissed. She's going to have to say, today the question, have you ever been charged with felony? Right, she's gonna have to say that.
Yeah, and that would be the only thing that would circle her back to here if she didn't. So,
Commissioner Beverly, I guess this is a question directly from Ms. Perez. Do you intend on applying to law enforcement agencies once you leave here today?
Not today, no. Maybe in the future after all this is over.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
We have 2 ayes and 1 no. The motion carries. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. I apologize again for being late.
Just for discussion, I guess, this may come up again, this Commissioner Green. On the opposite side, if you decertified and they appealed it and the appeal fell after the criminal case was there, it would still come back. She could still apply again during the appeal process, if there was no criminal charges anymore, our decertification would probably be reversed.
I don't know if it would be, I mean, at that point, it would be right for a formal hearing. The question typically for us is what rule does the decertification attach to? For this one, resign in under investigation. Whether the case was expunged or not, that resignation triggered the post rule. So that's up to y'all.
It would still be there.
Right. If it was a criminal if an agency fires somebody for criminal conduct and that criminal conduct becomes expunged, that's when our hands kind of get tied. But if they tie it to a disciplinary action or another triggering post rule, we have something else to proceed under, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
And that was my thinking on
Yeah.
how that would navigate through.
All right, the Tennessee Department of Safety in the matter of Zachary Newton, if we could have a representative of the Department of Safety. Morning, sir. If you just identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Spicer, THP. Earlier this year, Zach Newton was terminated for the good of the service and for cause. Mr. Newton appealed that decision. The decision was upheld at all 3 administrative steps. The termination resulted from an internal investigation into allegations that he had been selling departmental equipment online. During the investigation, Mr. Newton admitted to taking equipment without permission and selling the state-owned property. Some of the items that he admitted to selling were holsters, various weapons parts, and weapons flashlights. Additionally, during the investigation, it was discovered that Mr. Newton had an extensive inventory of valuable state-owned property at his house. He did return those items to the department on 2 occasions during this investigation. Before the investigation, Mr. Newton was assigned to our ordnance division. Because of this assignment, he knew the approximate value of the inventory and had access to all the confiscated weapons. Confiscated weapons that had been awarded to our department. This privileged access and knowledge placed him in a unique position of trust and responsibility. Mr. Newton's admitted conduct represents a serious breach of that trust and demonstrates willful dishonesty. It's for these reasons that we're requesting decertification. I have Sergeant Richard Teach out here, who was the case agent on the investigation, as well as members of our legal team who tried the administrative appeals, to answer any questions the board has.
Commissioner Wilbur, my usual question, are there any criminal charges pending, theft charges?
Good morning, Rachel Rieger for the department. I am one of the attorneys who tried the administrative appeal. It's my understanding that criminal charges were not pursued because Mr. Newton refused to meet with the department's criminal investigative division to interview, and much of the other material was subject to garrity after the administrative investigation began.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the agency? All right, thank you. Counselor, if you guys would just identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Bennett Wills. I represent Mr. Zachary Newton, present to my left. I'd also like to introduce several members of the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department behind me to my right. Excuse me, Sheriff John Myers, Chief Deputy George Bartram, Lieutenant Patrick O'Rourke, and Sergeant Dan Callan. They're here in support of Mr. Newton today. So just to respond briefly to the department's position, I have multiple letters I'd like to pass up to in just a moment. Mr. Newton was terminated from the Tennessee Highway Patrol earlier this year. The allegations are such that he was selling holsters, tack lights, and other items online, which in reality, he sold 2 holsters. His sergeant, Brandon Scholl, actually told him with these holsters that he could indeed dispose of them. And by that, he just said, get rid of these things, put them in the trash can, do whatever. So Mr. Newton did sell them, 2 holsters. The remainder of the items were returned during the investigation. But I'd like to note for the board today that Mr. Newton cooperated with everybody involved. The problem we have and what we've done is I've represented Mr. Newton for many months now. We've gone through all of the appeals process. And what we ultimately determined is that the Highway Patrol doesn't have any really solid general orders or anything on paper that really talks about or guides troopers on what to do with items that are up for disposal. We had Captain Christy Wallace testify to the general orders, the disciplinary matrix, and she testified that his conduct was moderate. And when we look at the general order and the disciplinary matrix, it goes from mild, moderate to grossly severe. Grossly severe is important because that does include criminal charges. And Mr. Newton has not been criminally charged and he will not be criminally charged. So we're asking that Mr. Newton today keep his post He is currently employed with the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department. And again, I have members of Lawrence County with me, and the sheriff who can sit up here and vouch for him that he is indeed an honest person. He's an asset to the law enforcement community. And so we would again ask that he not have his post revoked. And with that, I'd like to give him an opportunity to speak to all of you.
And I have a question for Mr. Newton. It may expedite a little bit. This is Commissioner Green.
Sir.
Did you take state property and sell it for personal gain?
Yes, sir. I was told it would be disposed of, but
That's the nuts of it right there. You took state property and you sold it for personal gain.
Yes.
You had other state property in your home that you only returned because of the investigation ongoing.
I had it, but I'm the one that called and told them I had it, sir. When I was
During the investigation.
Yes, sir.
That's all I got.
If I may hand out these letters.
This is Commissioner Beverly. I'm looking on here, evidence that was returned, retrieved or turned in from you.
Yes,
So they included some suppressors.
Yes, sir.
Were you authorized to take those suppressors out of ordinance?
Yes, sir. We were authorized.
What was the total amount that the items that you sold?
It was in the area ballpark of $1,000, but as far as it was plus or minus because there were lots that were actually given to me by other troopers that I had turned back in, things like that. 2 holsters were $65. So it was during the investigation, I offered to pay all the money back. I was told that it wasn't an option. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilbur, I'm looking on this, you're saying these were items you were allowed to sell because they were no longer being used?
So most of the items were being disposed of.
But I've got on here that there are 2 Glocks missing from ordinance.
I did not sell any Glocks, man. There was a barrel and a slide that belonged to a Glock. There were no firearms sold.
But there are items missing from ordinance
Yeah.
that should have been in use.
That I don't.
I can clarify that, ma'am. There's nothing throughout the appeal process, discovery in our investigation, there's nothing missing. But I would like to clarify, the department made an issue that Mr. Newton was possibly selling weapons online, which that's not the case. Parts that were sold, the parts is a very distinct difference than a weapon. There was no crime committed, but there's nothing, to my knowledge, missing.
I'm not even gonna address that one. I've got a question for the agency, but I'll hold off until everybody else is finished.
Any other questions for the respondent? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I believe the commissioners had some questions of the agency.
Yes. Can you talk to me about how the equipment is issued out, how weapons are accounted for, especially the suppressors are what got my attention.
So the suppressors, he was allowed permission to have those if you go through the proper channels of doing that. And the way they had it set up at that point was they were allowed to use anything inside the ordnance division for testing purposes and then return it. But they were supposed to let the sergeant know that they had the items. He was okay with it as long as they used them and brought them back. They weren't assigned to them in inventory control because some of them were confiscated weapons, some of them were suppressors, some are items that deleted and getting ready to sell. So they get back to ordinance until the buyout goes, until all the weapons are sold. So in that aspect, he was allowed to have them if he went through the proper channel.
Did he go through the proper channel?
The sergeant said he was aware of some items that he had, but not all of them.
And I guess you can understand my concern that the department has in its possession certain items that are regulated by the National Firearms Act. And if an audit came through, the highway patrol would have no idea where those items were.
Yes, sir. If they weren't addressed with the sergeant, they had them, then some of the items he had were for several a long period of time. It wasn't just a short period that we would assume that he was out testing and bringing them back. I mean, took 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So that's where the issue became available there.
Thank you. I just wanted some information on how your internal controls work.
Just one question that I have, and I'm sure I know the answer to this, but is it practice for the Tennessee Highway Patrol to equipment that they turn into ordinance that's no longer in use? Is it practice for them to allow troopers to sell that equipment?
No. The process, of course, what we talked about is other modified since that, so this issue doesn't arise again.
Commissioner Jeffers, there was one thing that I was kind of looking here through tax swap. When it said on February the 7th, 2025, a review of the website revealed that there were multiple postings of firearm accessories for sale. The one that grabbed me the most is when you get to page 11, when it winds up on the upper top, say Block 19 MOS, archived and posted 3 months ago, upper slide and barrel from a confiscated gun. So that means it was taken from a crime, confiscated by Tennessee Highway Patrol, and where that should be either properly disposed of by the state of Tennessee because it was a confiscated weapon or given back. That's loose evidence that was out for sale.
Yes, sir. That gun was actually confiscated by a trooper off of a crime, or wasn't allowed to have the gun, so they confiscated it. Went before the judge. It was awarded to the state. It was sitting in ordinance waiting for, because the way ordinance works is they wait till a bunch of guns all accumulated at once, and then they do a buyback or a buy through Craig's Firearms, which was our dealer at the time. And Craig's would give a certain amount of money for a certain amount of guns. And we would get the money as like a credit if we wanted to purchase more firearms through Craig's as a department later on. So that gun was actually sitting in ordinance waiting for a bid to buy it from Craig's.
And him, by doing that, violated a court order.
Yeah. And that gun was never recovered. Well, we call it a gun. They're referring to it as gun accessories, gun parts, but it was still part of a confiscated gun that was sold, and we can no longer, that gun's still in the public's hands. We don't know who it was sold to, whether it was a juvenile, felon. And if that's ever committed in a crime, it's going to be brought back to our attention because we're going to have to answer for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I had.
This Commissioner Green, and this is kind of historical. Didn't you have a similar incident where you had a trooper selling ammunition that was issued?
Yes, sir.
And wasn't the action of the board to decertify?
So yes, he was terminated, so I'm not decertified.
Thank you.
Commissioner Beverly, I'm going to make a motion to decertify based on the evidence presented.
Mr. Rice, second. We still need to keep the respondent to talk to him through about.
If that happens.
Did you want to have an opportunity to body rebuttal, sir?
Just briefly, again, I think the issue is, well, there's a few issues, obviously, but Mr. Newton's conduct was uncouth, to say the least, okay? The problem is with the THP is that when they dispose of weapons, there is no general order policy. The department testified, multiple members, Sergeant Scholl, Trooper Stickler, that it was common sense that they don't sell weapons or weapon parts. And I think it is a very clear and important distinction that Mr. Newton did not sell weapons. So when the department stands up here and says a juvenile or a felon or somebody got a weapon, that's just not true. A weapon is the lower and the barrel and the slide, and it takes all of those parts to make a weapon. That point aside, Mr. Newton cooperated with the investigation, returned the items, returned what Sergeant Scholl said he could take. And also in the testimony during the appeal, Sergeant Scholl said, well, he can sell 2. He can't sell 60, but he can sell 2. And we went through testimony about the Fourth Amendment. If it's in the trash can, and then the Fourth Amendment doesn't require a warrant to pull things out of the trash and sell it on the street. And so, again, I think overall his conduct, we're not excusing it. I think there are important distinctions to make here, but the important thing is that Mr. Newton is an honest person. He is an asset to the law enforcement community. He has members of support behind me over my right shoulder. And again, respectfully request that he not be decertified. So thank you for hearing us out this morning.
There's no questions for Mr. Newton. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Okay, the motion was for decertification. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Council, if you just step out with our investigator, he'll give you next steps.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move forward to the matter of Charles Aaron Ferguson. The employment status change that would have triggered the decertification no longer exists. And so therefore, he is not eligible for decertification. So we just want to request the commission just go ahead and close that file.
Commissioner Wright, make a motion to close that file.
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to our last three. I don't see very many folks in the gallery left, but we'll call the roll just in case, just to make sure. Alan Greenman. James Hendry. And Tommy House. Okay. Those three individuals are not here and will probably serve to notified of the hearing.
Commissioner Wright, make a motion to decertify three names over there for into record.
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
We have a motion for default decertification. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that would conclude our matters for the. Is there anybody here that has public comment? Seeing none, we'll adjourn the hearing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.